It's 5 minutes past 5 p.m. here in Ghana. So I think we'll start. So a very warm welcome to you all. And I'm very glad to see you all, to have you guys join this meeting. And we really are excited about this meeting because it's an opportunity for us to have or give out some kind of information or help to people who have been reaching out a lot, asking questions about how can I get started in tech? Is tech something for me to get into as a career? I want to switch paths into this area of tech, but I don't have a computer science background. But I love one or two things. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me clearly?
I can hear you.
Okay. I see somebody in the chat saying they can't hear me. That's why I'm a little concerned. So if you could please check your device or your audio connections so that you can try again. Okay. It looks like everyone else can hear. So please try that again. Okay. Yes. So as I was saying, this is just a way of us coming together to share the little that we know or the information that we have that can guide people who are very new to this field, right? Or wanting to know how to really start out in this field. Maybe you are even somebody who is not looking to take this as a career path, right? You just want to have the knowledge for the knowledge sake, or to do something with it, practice it as a hobby. That one is even more interesting. So it all boils down to the same kind of thing. So if you are here, and I want to believe that the expectations around the people who have joined this meeting will vary one way or the other. Maybe some people are here who are very, very new. They don't have any good knowledge. Some people may be intermediate, and some people may also know a lot, right? But we are here to sort of, as the theme or the topic for this meeting says, that how to get started in tech. We are basically trying to give out as much information that can help people get started. And when I get into the presentation, you hear a lot more from the things I will say, because the whole tech field is very broad, and you can't expect us to talk about everything, but there is going to be a certain focus we will have in this meeting. But at the end of the day, I can trust that you will have your answers, or you will have all those questions you have to be cleared for you, right? So once again, you are all welcome. And so the format today will be that I'm going to take us through a brief presentation. And then after the presentation, we are going to have the questions come in and all that. But before I proceed further, I'm here with two colleagues of mine, as you saw on our flyer. So I will just proceed by first allowing them to introduce themselves and say something brief about themselves. Then I will also come back in, and then we'll proceed with the presentation. So I have two of my colleagues here who will be sharing the space with me, helping to answer questions and give out information. So I have David Awanta here, yes, and Samuel Asiedu. Samuel. Okay, I think Samuel is not here. Okay, so David, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yep. So, hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So, my name is David Awanta, and I'm a cloud engineer, a colleague of Maurice. So, practically, this is us. Maori came to myself and Samoa saying that he had people reaching out to him as regards to his journey. There was a video he had put out, AWS had put out about him, and he just wanted to give, a little information as to how his journey started and all, and probably with some of us who also passed through similar path, maybe us gathering and providing this opportunity and giving this talk can also help others who are looking to, take similar path. So he came with the idea. I felt like it was a great idea. At least if you know something, it's great to share. So why not? I jumped on it, and here I am this evening for us in Ghana. Yeah, here I am this evening trying to share my journey. So for me, I would say I started out pretty much in the tech field somehow because I did telecom engineering at the university, and which was more or less like, we deal with wireless connectivity and all that. So that is something I studied about, 4G and all that. But, we're in Ghana. I didn't really study about 4G. There was more of the archaic stuff, the old architectures and all that. Yeah, but still, we still managed to, learn a little bit about the 4G regardless. So yeah, I finished my university degree in 2019. Yep, and I did some internships as well with Vodafone. I did one in Birmingham. That's the where the soldiers are. To yeah, we're mainly fixing their telephone lines, connectivity, and all that. So yeah, it was more or less. I would say it was more, hands-ons, not much more into tech as you know. So I finished, did my national service. I sat at home, then unemployment thing in Ghana, the usual thing. So it was then I decided to, tech, like there are so many things. So telling you're at home, you're unemployed, so many things will come into your head. I went into Photoshop, I went into videography. I learned about, HTML, CSS. I learned about that. Then I was in this group with a friend, and he sent a link regarding, AWS Cloud Practitioner course with Azumi Africa. So I saw the link, and Charlie, I didn't know much about cloud. I knew there was something about cloud, but I wasn't so enthusiastic about it. So it was more or less like, let me just try it. After all, I'm unemployed. What's there to lose? So I tried it. I took their, test and all that. At first, I got into the program. Then, I got into the program and I felt like, wow, this is cool. So that is where I developed the love for, AWS and cloud. I studied it, wrote the exams. Then I continued to write the certificate, the associate, solutions architect associate. So, yep, after writing it, then, there was the opportunity for this interview. I took it. They were happy they took me in, and here I am as a cloud engineer. So I feel like tech is more or less like you grabbing your opportunity, right? So if something comes, tech is broad. Just look out for something, and if you feel like, wow, I love this, then you try to focus a little bit on it, and if the opportunity comes for something else, just grab it. Tech, there'll always be opportunities. There'll always be new things coming up, and you have to keep learning. So practically, that's my journey. We'll still talk more. So this is me. Once again, this is David Awanta. Yep. So Mauli, yeah, this is the brief introduction.
Thank you very, very much, David. We are very glad to have you. Very, very glad. Thank you so much for that. Samuel.
Hi, Mauli.
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you
Excellent.
please give us an introduction? Tell us about yourself. Give us a little information about yourself.
Okay, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Samoa. I'm also a cloud engineer, just like David and Mauli, and we actually work for the same company. So that's cool. And my journey is a little similar to theirs, but with some slight differences in the sense that I am more of what you typically call the IT guy in quotes, because I went through the traditional path, study computer science, be in the tech field for my whole career. So how I got into this cloud thing was after school. We are in Ghana, so we all know about the unemployment. So I got the opportunity to join NAPCO, which we are all aware of. The pay is not great, but if you have a good place to work, you get a lot of experience. So I was there as an IT officer in a hospital, and then we had people coming to do national service and attachment people. So one of the attachment guys, this was a lady actually. We will be in the office and this lady will always be on a call, seriously doing something on her laptop. So I asked her about what it was. And then she mentioned the whole Azubi Africa thing. And at the time she was doing data science. And I had dabbled a little bit into data, into programming, I'd done like graphic design and, in a way to find my niche and break out. And none of them really stuck with me because I didn't enjoy it as much. But I looked at the Azubi website and found this cloud computing thing. I was like, maybe this will be more of my thing. So I applied and joined the program. I went through it and I actually enjoyed it. And luckily for me, after the program, I think we wrote the exam for the cloud practitioner. That's like the lowest of them. And I was fortunate enough to get a job working remotely for another company, not the one I'm with right now. I was there for about a year. Then we were not really the right fit for each other. So when I got the opportunity to join Skill Capacity, I jumped at it. And I've been there for about 8 to 9 months now. And so far, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the cloud thing. And I'm looking forward to sharing some of my experience with you in the Q&A session. Mauli.
Great. Absolutely great. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you so much again, David and Samuel, all for your introduction. And so we are in very good company, okay? These are very sharp guys, very, very sharp shooters. So we are in very, very good company. You hear about my story later in the presentation, okay? We hear about my story later. So so we are all working at the same company, and Skill Capacity is basically an AWS partner, meaning that they have this strategic partnership with AWS, the cloud provider, to sort of work on projects that are on AWS for clients for them. So we basically have that kind of deal. We take a lot of cloud projects in AWS, and that's basically our business with AWS, right? So that's what we do. So I'll just like to dive right in. I think I've seen a lot more people join us. If you are joining us, you can just send some shout out in the chat telling us maybe where you are joining us from, especially if you are not joining us from Ghana. Just let us know or see something in the chat to know that, or to know about where you are joining us from. That would be great. That would be really great. So in the meantime, I'm going to get ready and start our presentation to get us going. Let me share this. That would be. So can you see my screen? I hope you can see my screen here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are talking about how to get started in tech. I set the expectations earlier on. If you are somebody who is more advanced in terms of your capacity with tech, please just bear with us who are still like beginners. We are just going to learn some of the basic things. Maybe it will still be beneficial to you too. We are trying to put as much information in there as possible that will be helpful for all of us, okay? So, and even if you are a beginner too, then just listen attentively and get the best out of this. The good thing too is that we are recording the session, so we'll hopefully share that with all of you. So we will be looking at the whole thing is broad, right? How to get started in tech, very broad. But let's look at the angles from which we'll be trying to approach this today. We'll have some introduction, and then we'll talk about the areas in tech, the tech skills, the soft skills that you need, how you can begin, some top programs you can join, and then I'll tell you also about my tech journey. So really in our life today, we are seeing that everything is really about technology. Things have been getting more and more complex with time. I remember back in the day when the mobile phones came out, I mean, even before that, when the internet broke out and all that, and the predictions that people had about how life would be. And true to word, it has all just been laying out according to the expectations some people had, even probably way more than some of the expectations or predictions of some of the leaders in this field. I mean, we are doing so many advanced things with devices these days. Look at our phones, our computers. Literally, before you can interface with any kind of business at all or do any kind of transaction, even enjoy social media or any kind of service at all, you see that you are interfacing so much with technology and it's all around us. We use it. And the other important thing is that every kind of business you can think about today is being powered by some sort of infrastructure in one way or the other. So if you can think about the market or the industry for technology, you realize that, well, even if you talk about healthcare, if you talk about food, if you talk about many other aspects of life, government, and all other areas, you find that technology is powering everything. And the industry is growing. Really, if you check the data, if you go to Google and check the growth of tech jobs or opportunities, you see that there is an increase in demand for such jobs and roles all over the world. And even from the time of the COVID and all that, when even work switched remotely and all that, there has even been greater demand for all of this. So opportunities abound. So maybe you are someone today and these days, you realize that there is more buzz about technology and how to get into tech. And even we talk about people who are not necessarily computer science students also getting in, right? Because it looks like the typical people who are the computer science graduates who are the ideal candidates to go into these jobs, you find that at the end of the day, we still need more hands. There is more demand than necessarily having only those people fill those kind of roles. So if you are this person thinking about how to get into it, maybe there is a question you are asking yourself right now that, why do I want to enter this field? That is one thing you should be able to answer for yourself. I don't know what your why is whether you are looking at this as something you want to take up as a hobby. Maybe you really don't, you just want to know enough about some area, cloud engineering, data analytics, data science, or something, just for the sake of the knowledge. Maybe you are really in a position where maybe after listening to stories of people, after hearing how people have pivoted, like myself, like my colleagues, other people, you are also thinking of doing same to take this up as a career. Why not? It's also a valid reason. And really, the areas are so many. What I have here is just something very small. It's just something I chanced upon, talking about the best paying jobs in technology. And they have this list. You can see all the rules in there, but there are way more rules and different kinds of designations and things that they do. Some of them are a bit overlapping and all that, but there are so many opportunities in there and different kind of things you can be involved with. Web development, which is a very big one, because literally anything we are doing today, you go into your browser with websites, whatever you are seeing, someone has worked on to develop. So that is also a very big area, in addition to all these other areas, right? All right. And the good thing, or the maybe probably one of the most popular thing we know about tech jobs is that people know that it pays well. So everybody wants to get into it. Everybody wants to get into it. Well, that's not a bad reason to also get into it, but there are certain things you have to get in place or to get done before you get in there, right? So these are some of the areas, and even many more. I'm sure some of you even know some of them already. But from this perspective, I would like to sort of narrow a bit and just give some highlight on some two areas and then talk about it, especially because this is the area of space that we are in, and I just wanted to talk about them because the thing I find happening a lot of the time is that I talk to people and you tell them you are a cloud engineer and they are like, what is that about? What kind of engineer is that? Are you talking about the cloud here? Or like, and I'm like, oh, wow. It looks like people really don't know what it's about. So you have to go on this road of explaining and talking about what you do and all that. So in this whole area of cloud computing or cloud technology, we have these two roles, solutions architect and cloud engineer. And the whole idea of cloud is like delivering IT services in a way on a pay-as-you-go basis, right? On a pay-as-you-go basis, without you having to interact with hardware, without you having to interface with hardware, dealing with hardware equipment on your own, configuring servers, doing all those kind of work that the traditional IT system people have been doing, okay? So in the traditional system, or what we would typically call on-premises, you find that the IT folks or the IT people are the ones in charge of managing all the IT infrastructure, right from the hardware components, putting them together, setting these devices up in terms of the hardware level, and actually powering them on, dealing with the software configurations and all this. So assuming there is a small business somewhere and they are operating, maybe they are a bank or any other kind of institution, they need some servers or some machines to do their work. They need some web servers. Maybe they need some file server to be serving files for everybody around the company, that kind of thing. That's a requirement, right? So what they need to do is that they need to go and procure their own service or this hardware from any vendor, get appropriate software licenses. And I mean, it's so much work that you have to do to get through all this. But the new model that we are seeing today is that there are these really big companies who have started the work of creating or setting up what we call data centers. And these are just very, it's basically like a server farm, right? thousands and hundreds of thousands of machines that have been intelligently designed and positioned to perform and to deliver these kind of services. And there is a whole global kind of backbone of networking and all other kind of resources that support this. So that in this case, if this company wants to deal with their infrastructure, they don't need to go worrying about getting all these servers and compute by themselves. All you need to do is you go to, you sign up, get an account, and then you can interact with services. You can create networking environments, storage, machines. In fact, the services are almost countless, hundreds of them, and you can do all these things remotely without ever needing to see the server physically or touch it or do anything, because the service has been designed and the offerings have been designed in a way that will allow you to have that much control over everything. And that is the whole wave of cloud taking over the world, taking the world by storm, and everybody's talking about it. And basically in that area, and it's this role of solutions architect is actually not even limited to just the cloud, but you hear about it a lot in the cloud space. So these are two very common roles you find in this area. And the solutions architect is that kind of person who is in touch with the business or looking at a business need and thinking about a design at a very high level and examining all the components and how it would come together and deciding what services will be put together and in what way, and all the details about how they will come together to deliver a business solution, right? So that solutions architect has to be like a very technical person who understands all these concepts, but at the same time, be able to carry this idea to the customer, discuss, explain, get all the requirements, and put a solution together. The cloud engineer, on the other hand, is typically that guy who, after all these design things have been done and put in place, he is the one going to build. He is the one going to actually get in there, get hands dirty, and build this thing. These sort of people need to know their way around the material. These people need to understand what they are building, what they are doing. Is my screen still shared?
I think you have to share it again.
Okay, so let me do that.
Yeah.
So the cloud engineer has to know how to troubleshoot when problems occur, how to optimize the systems, how to make sure things are running well to meet the business need. There can be different requirements, and I don't want to delve into it so much, but this is just to give you a brief of the kind of thing involved with the cloud engineering side, and then solutions architect and the cloud engineer role, right? So let's talk about the kind of skills you need in getting to this area of, or when you talk about getting into tech. So the area is so broad, and as we saw, right, so many things to deal with. I mean, the path for each kind of role will really differ, right? And so one of the things we are trying to do after this meeting is that we will give you as much knowledge and also deal with your questions regarding any areas, right? By the end of this, we will give you a survey whereby we will take your information, and then we can, if you have really a need for guidance or materials or information on how to get started in any of these different areas, we can send you kind of startup materials that can help you get started. That's really one of the other objectives of this meeting, that we can be able to share materials that are tailored to each of these areas to help you start. But because we are in the cloud space, maybe when I'm talking, you may hear me use a lot of cloud examples and things like that. So just have that at the back of your mind, okay? So you'll see that typically, if you are going to be in this cloud space, we are talking about some level of computer hardware knowledge you must have, right? You must definitely have that. If you really want to be any kind of good IT person, I mean, you need to have it. Even if you are going to be a developer or something, it doesn't hurt at all. You may find that knowing some computer hardware will be so crucial to your developing role or career, so important. Then there is another important one, computer networking. Networking is so critical. I can't say how many times you will meet it everywhere. You will meet it so many places, and you need to know certain important basics about it. You don't need to know everything, but there are some important concepts that you just need to get under your belt, and you'll be fine to start working with things. Data structures, algorithms, these are things that you will definitely meet if you were a computer science student or you went to school for computer science, and there is good understanding. All these things I'm talking about, you don't need to be a guru or anything, but there are some basics or some kind of understanding that you need to have about all this. All we are talking about here is what, how to get started. What do you need? The interesting thing you find about this field is that the moment you are able to get your hands on some fundamental material, the rest becomes like a staircase kind of thing. When you put your feet on one thing, the next place to put your feet becomes a bit obvious, that kind of thing. And in the process, another important thing is that you can begin to tell for yourself if this is something you should be putting effort towards or not. Because this field, honestly, is not, again, for everybody. Even though we are saying, even if you are from a non-computer science field, you can come in. I'll get ahead and talk about some skills and things there that you see why I'm saying all this. And then knowledge about some programming languages. Programming languages, even if you want to become a developer, absolutely crucial for you. You need to understand how they are, what they do, different kind of languages, and what you can use them for. Operating systems, you need to understand them. Mobile, PC, Mac, different types. You need to understand the basic principle behind them, how they work and all that, and some logic, right? Then the other part of getting or working in IT that we don't really talk about, or people think maybe it's not so important, is the soft skills. And these are the skills that nobody will really teach you, or you might not find yourself having to learn them so consciously, but they are so important to the field. In fact, if you have the best kind of technical skills, right, and you are lacking in soft skills, or you have big issues in some of your soft skill areas, it can consistently be a reason why you may get turned down on jobs, or you may never really get a job if that's what you really want to get into with tech. Talk about communication. With the cloud engineer role and solutions architect thing I spoke about, there is a lot of customer interfacing in this thing. Customer is very customer centric, and you have to understand the customer. The customer is not a technical person, doesn't understand anything about all the things you are trying to do, but you have to help this person. I understand all these things, put an idea in their minds to them. So all these things come with your communication. There is some creativity that you need to have, being able to think out of the box to deliver certain things, leadership, organization, being able to put yourself together in order to be able to deliver on anything, some analytical ability, project management. You get into tech and you begin to work on projects, and you realize that there is a lot of project management going on. At the end of the day, sometimes you'll be in some projects and be wondering that, wow, because you are dealing with so much processes. Even you think it's just the fun part of maybe going to work on the real stuff and do the exciting things, but there is a lot of processes, even paperwork, documentation, and stuff that you have to go through, even in the design phase before you even actually build, right? You must be able to persevere. As I was saying, this area, the concepts are not, some of them are a bit tough, honestly. And even for someone who is not been in the computer science field, it would be something for you to make some extra effort. So if you are not able to persevere, if you don't have a passion, it will be a challenge, right? Problem solving, resourcefulness, curiosity. If you are really curious and interested in knowing something, it's a very, very good basis for being good at something, right? Because you question things, you delve in, you try to get answers. And that's a very, very big thing if you really want to be in this field. So how do you really start with all this? The first thing is to do some research. And as part of that, this could be one of the processes for you, attending something like this, listening to a presentation like this. So you need to really do some research. You need to really look at yourself. You need to really find your why, right? You need to find your why, understand why do I want to go into this field? Why do I want to go into tech? What is the motivation? Assess those things well. Then do your research. Try to know exactly what area you want to go into. I mean, if you assess your abilities, I believe you'll be able to understand or identify which kind of area you want to go to. Then you choose a path. After choosing that path, I'll talk about something ahead, but finding a program, I'm talking about this because it's one of the best ways to be able to get started, right? To enter a program that actually helps you, that actually teaches you. And all of us, the three of us, have been products of a program like that. They all spoke about Azubi Africa and signing up for a program like that. So I personally had that background that I wasn't from any kind of computer science background, really. Mine was something born out of like a passion, right? So when I saw an opportunity like that and I got into a program like that, yes, the passion was there and even some prior knowledge. So that just helped me to kind of find my way around because there was support from the group, a well-structured program with a curriculum. So it just helped me to move through very easily, right? Then I put self-study there with that question mark because those are basically the kind of options you have, right? Either you enter a program or you try to study by yourself. The second one, self-studying, is the more difficult one. How would you be able to achieve that? Well, I would say that it is still very possible, but probably for some very few people, you would really, even for self-study, I would say that you still need the support of a mentor or like a group or somebody who will really be guiding you because studying all by yourself for tech is not easy. I know there are some people who, because of their background, being a bit typical of what they know already, they will find it easier to do this. If only they get the right materials, if you throw the right materials at them, they will be able to just go there and study and be able to get along by themselves. Then the other thing is to get support. So even if you are in a program or studying by yourself, it will be important to find a group or find some people from which you can get that support to help with your whole growth or your learning process, right? So some of the programs here, and I would like to be very emphatic about this, right? Please, if you are in this presentation, take these names and literally write them down and go and search for them on Google, search for them on LinkedIn, follow them anywhere. And they always come out with programs and trainings that are geared towards different areas that we are talking about right now. Azubi Africa, ALS Africa, Amalitech. Just follow all these people on LinkedIn. And I'm sure by this time, some of you might have definitely met one link from one of these people one way or the other. I'm very sure people have met links from them for a training program or the other. These are really one of the best ways you can get started, right? Get into a program, learn and study with a group, people who have a program defined. Then you study with them, you get through. So I'd just like to talk a little about my tech journey. So typically for me, and how it happened was that I was in the University of Ghana and I was in a program called Marine Science. That was basically studying about the oceans, right? But even before that, I had this personal passion for computers, and I would try my hands on things. When I got my first PC, I was tinkering with a lot of things, and eventually I started learning a lot from the processes and things. I started doing so many installations for people, helping them out with their software, doing a lot, and all those kind of things really broadened my understanding. I remember there was a time someone also brought a machine. So there was these two PCs, and then this guy, they both bought the two PCs new. And one, so you know how the PCs come new with a fresh system state, right? Like you just turn it on and then you power everything. Then there are some pre-installed softwares, and really with all the drivers and everything intact. So it's kind of like you don't want to mess with that kind of system. So it looks like the guy had an issue with his boot, and then it couldn't start up again. Then he took it to someone to work on it. The guy works on it and then just wipes out the whole system. So he really wanted the system state originally that was there before. And so I remember that was one of the things I had to go do some sort of backup with the other guy's machine and try to restore that. They had a lot of issues, but I was able to do it. And basically, it was just a great passion and interest for me. By some time, I was the kind of go-to guy that a lot of people were coming to solve many of these issues. And when I chance upon articles and stuff like that about tech, I'll just read and indulge myself a lot. So I knew I had the passion, but there was really no opportunity. And I felt that, okay, once I'm in this program, let me just focus on it and do what I had to do. But after school and working for a while, COVID happened, and I actually lost my job gradually. It started by them telling us that go and stay at home. We'll be paying you half of your salary. Then the half reduced further. Then eventually it came to zero. So the job was gone. And around the same time, I also saw the thing. In fact, I did some web development training first. Then later I saw something about Azubi Africa, cloud computing, and I was like, okay, give it a try. From that point, doing that program, going through, that was what opened so many doors. It was a really great experience. And I really wish and believe or look forward to people being able to enter such programs and be able to also get on their journey, right? So it says here, there is a quote I have here that says what? The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Literally, this is how you have to start. So if you have been thinking, you have been doing your research, you have been wondering, looking at things, at the end of the day, after gathering some information, after getting some motivation and all that, what you just need to do is to go and get started. Just begin doing something. And that is why we are also here to offer the little help that we can to you, to help you, guide you on this journey, right? So thank you very much from all of us. And that's the end of my very brief presentation, because I really want us to have time with the questions, because I know I can't cover everything. I can't talk about everything, but at the end of the day, when you begin asking your questions, then we can pick things up from there, answer all of them, and we'll develop the conversation from then on. All right. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Feel free. If you think you cannot type, if you think you cannot speak up, you can also type it. Okay, so I see a hand. Really, it's not just feel free and go ahead and just ask the question. So I see JK. Yes.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah.
That was a nice and brief presentation. My question has to do with whilst you were doing the presentation, you made mention that you wrote I think it was the other guy. He said he did some certification after the course. I don't know whether that certification is within the course, like the Azubi program. When you're done, you'll be made to write that particular exam and then get the certificate. That is what I want to know about.
Okay. So in our time with the Azubi program, the certification was the very basic or preliminary certificate or certification you can get in AWS, right? And that was part of the program. It was part of the program. So your training and all the materials and everything you study, whatever you do, and then even the cost of taking that certification exam was all part of the package.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, that's good. Thank you.
All right. So as we wait for the questions to David and Samuel, I can still open the floor for you. If you guys want to come in with any more information or something else, you can always do that. So as we expect the questions, we'll also be able to have you come in and then give any kind of information, additional information. Please throw your questions at us.
I see Eric has his hand up.
Okay, so we'll take Eric, then you come, David. All right. Eric,
good evening. Yeah, good evening, everybody, and a nice and precise presentation. Please, I want to know the duration of the course. You were talking of cloud practitioner as a beginner, but you also mentioned of the associates. I would like to know, does it combine or you can do them differently? And then the duration, your duration in your case. And then now, if you want to do, how long will it take? Because I was checking on Azubi as we're presenting, and I could see mention of 9 months and other things. So if there is any clarification based on the duration, and then if the courses are different, like the starter and then maybe the continuation, the associate you mentioned. Thank you.
Okay. So with our program, it was a 3 months program. So it was a 3-month program that we went through and basically learned about different concepts. And at the end of that, you sit for your certification exam. And it was the cloud practitioner or certified cloud practitioner certification, right? That was our package. I know today the same program is happening with different kinds of arrangements. I cannot speak to those arrangements, and probably from what you have been reading from them is probably correct, but I can't really give any information about that. I've heard myself that the program is now longer, but the best thing to do is, if you look at the opportunity, read as much as possible about it, ask questions. I know they also organize similar info sessions like this. You can get in there, ask all the questions, get the understanding, then you make a decision for yourself. Does that help?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I do have some information about that. Mm-hmm. Why they are doing it for 9 months right now. So what happened was, for some of us, some of our colleagues, and then some people in other batches, we did 3 months for cloud practitioner, but some of us stayed longer to do another 3 months to get solutions architect associate. And what people were complaining about was, we have the certificate, but we don't have enough experience to put on our resume to actually get a job. So they added an extra 3 months, so there will be more practical work, more projects, so you can actually have things to put on your CV. That's what I got from speaking to their Dean of Students, Gideon. So that's the letter I have, why it's now 9 months instead of the initial 3 and 6.
Okay, all right. That's good.
I see Jessica. You have your hand up in the chat. Do you want to say something?
Oops.
Hello, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, please. Thank you. And please, do you advise that we learn virtually or face to face? Because it looks like the programs you gave us, some are in Ghana, and then I don't know how we can reach them, whether we should go there for a face-to-face lecture or a virtual lecture. What do you suggest, please?
Good question. So it really depends on how that body is offering the training, right? We did our trainings virtually, and I would say the experience was still very great. I think there are some others that you also go in person. I don't know which ones are still there. If there are any there like that, you guys can speak to that, right? But I think even virtually, you will still have a very great experience. I wouldn't say that learning virtually reduces the experience in any way. You will still be able to get as much out of it as possible because you will be dealing with information, materials that are posted on platforms that you'll be reading, that you'll be studying, you'll be dedicating some hours to daily. And going through this kind of process, you really absorb a lot. And I think if I know the ALS program even is structured in a way that you can have buddies, people who you work with in kind of close groups. Azubi also does the same kind of thing. So it's really a great experience. Even that virtual thing doesn't feel like it's virtual. And so many people are doing it like that anyway. I mean, by all means, if you get a program that is face-to-face, that you go to classroom kind of thing and sit there, why not? Even better, right? But I don't know how many programs you can really find in that format right now. If you don't get that kind and you get the virtual one, I think you can still make something very good out of it. It's all about your own dedication, your motivation, how much time you are going to be willing to give to this thing. Because I can tell you for a fact that no matter how good the program is, no matter how good the materials are, sitting on a website somewhere, sitting on your laptop, if you don't have the time to sit down on it, you can't really get anything out of it. It's really about the effort you put in. Some people may have not ever purchased a course and paid money for it, but by sitting on YouTube videos, they've studied programming, they've studied advanced concepts and that are benefiting them today, right? So virtually is there's no problem with virtual. I would really, because I don't know how many programs you find these days that will be face-to-face or in person. That's my reason for saying that. I really want to, I'm actually missing out on the questions in the chat. Let me quickly, Ajwa, are you okay with the answer I gave?
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Okay. So I don't know whether we answered this question already, the cloud engineer program. So what I'm really recommending here is that we will not be able to give you the detailed information per each of these programs, right? But what I really want you to do is we'll be sharing some links and information, probably even the slides with you, but please make an effort to go to these people's LinkedIn and follow them, because they always post them. I have people coming in and say, "Oh, is the program open again? Is it open again?" And I'm like, go to LinkedIn, follow them. When they make a post, you will see it. Then you know they are out. In fact, I think right now, Azubi has a developer program application open right now. I think I saw it somewhere. Once you follow them, you will get all these kind of updates, right?
Yeah, that's front end engineering. Front end developer for the Azubi program. They are currently enrolling, so you can just apply.
Great.
Yeah, and I just want to come in. Sorry, with someone asked that, do you need a tech background to join the Azubi? I think that question is no. You don't really need a tech background. You just have to have the passion. And I think a degree or a diploma is a requirement. So if you have a degree in any other program that you've done at the university level and you have passion for tech, go through their programs, and anyone that you want to enroll on. With your degree, you qualify. You just have to apply and you'll be given the chance to enter.
Great.
JK, are you with Azubi at the moment? Are you like a worker there or?
Yeah. No, I'm not a worker. Currently, I'm enrolling on one of their programs, the cloud engineering.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just wondering because of the answer you gave to Jessica about the degree. But when we were part of the program, a degree was not a requirement. Maybe it's a new thing. Because some of our colleagues were students.
Okay. Sure, because I had one lady friend who wanted to enroll on one of their programs that they are picking students currently, but then she has just come out from the SHS. No, she completed for about 2 or 3 years ago, but then she couldn't really get all her papers, so she's just doing this NOVTech back and forth. And then I told her to just check on the Azubi. So she wanted to apply, but they told her that she needs to get a degree or say a diploma before she can enroll on any of their programs, because she's not having any of them. She's just having the SS certificate.
I see. Thanks for the info. I see Mike J.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, we can hear you. Hello, we can hear you.
So much. Thank you guys so much for this insightful presentation. And I would like to suggest that, if possible, so you guys, you are not serving us our breakers. Normally, it's my friend. I don't know if you do it before. And I would like to get to open up some WhatsApp for us, so that we can be appreciated. Next time, WhatsApp that's for everybody and see how to go. And maybe any further question that we might have, like what David is sharing, I think it's very insightful. So I'm humbly appealing that you guys should make that move for us if that goes well with other guys, so that you'll be coaching us how to any new thing that comes to the next space, you bring it there so that we look at it and ask questions, and then that will be a program, those things like how David shared. I think that's good. So thank you guys. If you look at that for me.
Great, Mike. I heard your part that talks about a group. Did you say something else? Did you want something else apart from the group?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but it looks like you said a couple of things before the group thing. So I wasn't sure if I heard.
I was thanking you guys for the presentation. And I was saying that as a beginner, or maybe those of us who might be interested in this thing, you could create a page for us so that you'll be coaching us. And maybe if we have any question or something bothering us or how to understand certain things, we can come there, ask questions, and you guys can provide answers. And if something new pops up in the text space, you guys can put it there so that we read and then follow up and those kind of things. That was what I said.
Okay, got it. I think we can do something like that. Okay, so I think, David, you were going to come in with some points earlier on before we went with some questions.
Yeah. So my honest contribution is, in the tech space, right? It's more of taking opportunities. So sometimes there are things you feel like I can't do this. This is not my strength or something. But if the opportunity is presented to you, right, try and make use of it. That's my own honest opinion. Because if not for that post my friend placed in the WhatsApp group, I don't know how probably my career path would have been like. Because I saw it and I closed the chat. I was like, nah, I don't need it. Then the following day, I came back again. I said, okay, let me just try it. And here I am today as a cloud engineer. So if I hadn't taken that opportunity, then what would it have been like for me? Sometimes I really think about it, right? So I feel like regardless, if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you are still lost at sea, but then there's a slight opportunity somewhere, just give it a go. You never know. All right. Tech is really broad. Sometimes you may focus on this, and there might be an opening or opportunity somewhere where you could equally, divert your energy and do something in there, right? Try and do it if where you are focusing on there's no opening yet, right? Try and divert that energy into that opening or that opportunity. You never know. It could lead you somewhere. So in my perspective, it's more or less like master something in tech, but try to know a little bit of something. Because even as a web developer, right? For us, basics, yeah, you have to know HTML, you have to know CSS, you might know JavaScript. But there are other frameworks, like talk about React, talk about Angular. There are a lot of them, right? There may be an opening looking for a web developer who is good in, React. Another company or opportunity, someone will be looking at someone who is good in what? Angular. So I feel like, yeah, master one thing, but try to have a bit of knowledge somewhere. And when that opportunity comes, and there's no way you've mastered, but at least you know something somewhere, then you try to go there, try and convince whoever or wherever that opportunity is. Try to convince them that yes, this is not my basic field, or this is not my main field, but I know a little bit, and with a little time, I can master it. I remember in my interview, they asked me, "Do I know this?" I told the person, "I don't know this, but I know my strength. Just give me 1 week. I'll be able to, capture this and be good at it." So you see how I was able to convince whoever was interviewing me that yes, after all, I'm telling you the truth. I don't know it, but just give me 1 week. I'll be good with it. Just because I have a little knowledge about it, I know if I focus my energy on that, I could be great at it. So this is my simple advice: master something, but try to have a little bit of knowledge somewhere else. So when an opportunity or an opening comes somewhere else, you could quickly divert, and you never know. That may be your route or that may be your path. Yeah.
Yeah, so what David has said has reminded me of a few things I would like to add. So for those of us in school, let me first talk to my IT students, computer science students, computer engineering students. There are a lot of courses we see as useless, and you're not going to get a job doing this. Or it's like, there's a Java class or a C++ class. I know you don't want to learn C++. I didn't want to learn C++ too. But it's not just about the syntax. It's about the logic behind what goes on in a programmer's mind. That's actually what they are teaching you in school. Or if they say take a computer security class and then you go there and they are talking about cryptography and cipher and all those annoying stuff. It's not just about the cipher. They want you to understand how the whole security thing works in the cloud or data structures. It's difficult. But if you don't know that and you go and be a developer, you can learn the most fancy React stuff, but you are going to write a program that would need a huge server to run, or your application or your website will take 2 minutes to load the front page. And you're not going to help anyone. You end up with a bad product. I know some of us heard about the website that's taking people's money and it's not really secure. And then when the experienced developers were talking about it on Twitter, the owner was like, well, the site runs perfectly. And the next screenshot that came was tables from the database being showed on Twitter, showing information nobody should see. And these are some of the things you pick up from school. So that's one advantage what you call an IT guy will have over somebody entering new in the field, because they've had 4 years to learn some of these things. If you are coming new into the IT field, you don't have 4 years of that kind of experience. So whatever it is you want to do, maybe you want to be a developer, yes, learn about your React, learn your PHP, learn your Python, but don't forget about some of these other stuff. Like Mauli mentioned, computer hardware some time ago, a few minutes ago. If you don't know how your computer screen works and how pixels are, how are you going to design a good front end for your website? You know, that these are some of the things we should think about. And then not just learn about specifically, become one way. Don't be one-sided and don't just look at one aspect of the field. Just try to be as general as you can. And then specify in one, become an expert in something. And you become like sort of a jack of a lot of trades and a master of one. That's just one of my advices. And one other thing too I would like to add. After you've gone through whatever program or you've learned or is it a programming stack or cloud engineering concepts or whatever, you have your certification or you have your knowledge, the next step will be on how to get a job. I know there's not a talk on how to get a job, but there's something we should look. Network with people. Whether it's people in the field already or CEOs, join user groups. I know for AWS, there's an AWS user groups. And through that group, I've met a lot of people who, some of them are actually like, they are in a position where they can hire someone. So I have a job already, so I don't really need them like that. But it's one path you can look at in trying to get a job. Not all of us are special enough to the point where somebody who doesn't know you can see your LinkedIn resume and decide to come recruit you. A lot of us will need to seek out people, talk to them. And one thing, each company has a different set of skills they are looking for. And trust me, most companies are always hiring. They may not put a job post on LinkedIn or on their website, but they're always hiring. If they see somebody fit for them, they'll hire. If you know people and you're talking to them, that's where you get to know. Maybe in a conversation, someone will say, I wish we had somebody who knew this language. Well, if you're in communication with them and you know that language, that's the link to your job right there. So we should look at how we are gaining the technical skills. We should also look at networking with people. I know for Ghanaians, we are a little bit shy about these things. But if you want what's good for you, you have to meet people. If they don't know you, they cannot hire you. There are just a few things I wanted to say. And Emmanuel was talking about the duration of the cloud engineer program. I think we've already mentioned it, but about the cost, you may have to get in contact with, I think in our case, Azubi. I'm not sure what the cost is now. I know they do a sort of, they'll train you and when you get a job, you pay off for something. That's what they do at the moment. When we were doing it, our cloud practitioner time, it was free for us because AWS was sponsoring. Right now, I don't think AWS is sponsoring anymore. So there will be some payments, but it's usually after you get the job. As to the exact amount, I'm not sure. You have to get it from them. Mauli,
right.
you can go ahead.
Thank you. So, yeah, thank you all so much. I think we missed the question, right? Up in the chat. I was just seeing it from Eric. So he was asking about the approximate salary a cloud engineer can earn monthly. I mean, really, it depends on a lot of factors, right? And the one thing you consider or look at is that, and it's probably one of the things we didn't speak about, but most of these jobs that you get in cloud engineering might probably be remote jobs, right? I know maybe there are some few people who are doing cloud jobs in Ghana. I don't know much, or I don't know many of them, but you usually find these jobs like in a remote kind of situation. So a lot of factors come in there. You are not going to get paid based on kind of rates as if maybe you were living there. But again, it will depend on your skills and what you're offering. But I can assure you that it's very good. I will not be able to say, I mean, it depends on a lot of factors. I will not really be able to give you an approximate amount, but it's going to be very good. It's going to be very rewarding for you. I'm sure if you have looked at the kind of rates that you've seen outside or you've seen for other areas and people pegging, it's really about just doing some math and then looking at the kind of sizing it down, looking at conditions in Ghana, but at the same time, it's really a very, very good kind of salary or rate you can expect, right? So that'll be about that. I think the other thing I wanted to mention is that the LinkedIn setup. LinkedIn is so crucial. Like, it's so important to anything you are going to be doing right now. They mentioned about networking, right? It is on LinkedIn that you are going to get in touch with all these people, connect with people, know people. Knowing people virtually might even benefit you more than knowing them physically. Knowing them virtually might benefit you even more than knowing them physically, because LinkedIn is the kind of place you go and, I mean, you don't need to go to conferences physically or anything, but you can just send a connect to somebody and then you are a connection. You can ask questions. People have met mentors on LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. So go back to LinkedIn, address your profile, put in all the details that you need to put in there, set it up well, put a nice picture there, put your skills there, advertise your skills, connect with people, begin to see posts from other people and relate with them, connect with them, right? And then it will be a very good start for you. The other thing is that, or personally what I've found, and David also spoke about it, is that perseverance really pays, right? If you really keep pushing at something or putting effort on one area over a very long time, it tends to actually make a door open. I'm not saying that go and apply this to every kind of area and go and keep pushing at one side, doing something, no matter what the result is, you keep doing it. But what I'm trying to say is, like, with intention and purpose and also preparation and perseverance in one particular line of something for a long time, it actually causes things to happen. But if you were really doing the thing as if you were not really interested, like what he said, that take opportunities, open yourself up, get out there, be wanting to do things. Don't hold yourself back. If you are deciding that this tech field is something you really want to do, give it your all. People were in school, people were working. at the same time attending this Azubi class. People will be in car and then they are on the phone on the meetings. And we all, in fact, our batch, we scored 100%. We scored nobody trailed that CCP exam. I mean, now we look back at it and we think it's a very easy exam, but at the time it gave us chills, right? So persevere and put in the effort. Want it to happen, like be that person who wants it to happen. And most of the time you find that if you are giving that kind of effort to something over a long period, it actually tends to work out, right? I still see JK's hand. And I see they are still asking us to give us a range, right? Well, you really get, I mean, people are making upwards of like 20,000 Ghana cedis, right? That is a figure. That is a realistic figure people are making doing jobs like this in Ghana. So I mean, if I'm not talking about dollars, I'm talking about Ghana cedis, right? And upwards of that monthly, right? It's, as I said, it's really a mix of a lot of things. And it's about your abilities and your skills and also your negotiation, right? How you go in there. So all these things are important for how you prepare. Because the day that you go for an interview and you are sitting before an HR and everything, and you are talking about all this, it all comes into the mix. It's kind of an area of things that people are not so familiar with, but with time you begin to learn and how, because how many times or since when did we start hearing about kind of remote jobs happening in Ghana like this? I know there have been few people doing it, but it's all been like low key and all that. So that's the kind of expectations you can have around this. Yeah. So I see two more hands. I'll take JK, then Wanda. And it looks like we are approaching.
All right, Boss Mauli, thank you for the opportunity again. Please, I've currently enrolled on the Azubi Cloud Engineering Program, which is a 9-month program. We've just done 1 month. So I think we are starting our 5th week. That our 5th week will be this particular week. But then, since you guys are already in the cloud engineering platform, I wanted to ask if within your organization there's an opportunity for an internship or something, so that probably whether we are new to the field can also connect with you guys and then learn a lot from you, because I can really see you have in depth when it comes to the cloud engineering. So I wanted to ask if there's such an opportunity. I'll be glad to grab it. So that to find out.
So what I can say about that is, yes, you know, when you go to our company website right now, skillcapacity.com, and you go to careers, you are going to find some sort of job listing there, or people who like for roles, right? In fact, recently, maybe about 2 or 3 days ago, there was this guy who reached out to me. I've been in a program with him and I know his abilities in terms of development. He's just about leaving the university, right? But he has some very good programming skills, and he was asking me about the same thing you just asked, right? And I told him, like, go in there, if you see the role, and just put in an application, right? Put in an application. We have colleagues, we have people who have applied to our company and they got the job through that way, right? And I don't think we really have any internship opportunities right now, but if you see a role there that fits what you kind of want to do, you can do it. Why not? You can also put in an application and say that you are looking for an internship. Put in a good application. I mean, these things, you just have to be bold about it. You don't have to have any. So if you look at something and a company is advertising a role, but they are not advertising an internship, well, you are interested in an internship. Why can't you write an application that says blah, 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 application for internship? Put in that kind of application, see what the response is, right? These are some of the things that honestly you have to learn along the way and know how to deal with these things. Nobody is going to sit you down and teach some of these things. These are the soft skills I spoke about. But if you really want to do something, if you really want to get something, there is a way you go about it. There is an attitude and a mentality you develop about it if you really want the thing to happen, right? That's the way you have to begin to be thinking around these things, right? So why not? Try it and don't feel limited to our, yes, I know maybe because this is a very good example with our company because 3 of us from Ghana, or even more, not 3, we have other 2 colleagues. In fact, there was another Ghanaian with us again, and then she left. But so we actually 5, right, with this company. So you can obviously try, but I know people are getting remote jobs with other companies, even outside Ghana, and you can open the net, set alerts on LinkedIn for jobs. Do you know that you can configure job alerts that are tailored to the kind of roles you want on LinkedIn? And when any kind of role comes up in that area, it is just going to be sending you emails. I would like you to go and try it out, that kind of thing. You need to we are giving you so much. You need to now go and take action and really see that, what can I do? How can I set up myself for this thing? With all the information we've given about how to do it, what is involved, what it will take for you to make it, this is the time to really go. And another thing I want to say is that, not that we cannot, we will definitely be able to be available to give any kind of support and help. We've always been doing this to several people. We always do this. But the mindset, again, I want you to develop is that just know that nobody is going to sit you down and do ABC or like teach you. You can always ask questions when you're in trouble and all that kind of stuff. But the thing you realize in this thing is that you really have to be making a good effort on your own. And then when you have issues, you can approach, but don't expect too much spoon feeding, because sometimes you find out that it can get really busy and you will be doing so much, and we can get so much engrossed in doing a lot, and you may not necessarily find that kind of time for somebody to sit with you. I'm not saying it will not, but I'm just trying to say that have the mentality of knowing that apart from all the kind of help I can ever get from anyone, the greatest part of this thing is about how I sit down, how I put in the effort. Because at the end of the day, that is the thing that sticks with you. That's the thing that nobody can take. Because when you go through a process, when you have the experience, it just sticks, right? That kind of thing. So it's a mentality thing. It's a mentality thing. That's just that extra thing I would like to say. So I saw Wonder's hand too. Wonder, are you still there?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So I would just like to add some few remarks to what was mentioned earlier. I realized that there was a lot of emphasis on how much you're going to earn, where's the salary range going to start from. From the onset, you have to also prepare that you are now venturing into a new field. So don't be too keen on what you're going to get for now. Be more keen on the experience you are going to get, not only in the field you've chosen, but in how to work in a business setting. Because indeed, you might have learned A, B, C, and D in web development or in data science. But when you incorporate all that knowledge into a typical enterprise or business setting, it takes a different shape, right? So you would rather have to look forward onto how you get opportunities that will give you experience in this environment, right? Especially looking at the remote opportunity. Secondly, when you're undergoing all this training and taking all these materials, do your best to document your journey. Don't build in isolation, build in public. Talk about a problem you were stuck on that you found a way to navigate through. You never know who is watching. one way or the other, your opportunity might even come looking for you rather than you looking for it. And just have the grit that it's not going to be easy all the time. There might be days that you might feel like giving up, but just keep on pushing. And definitely, as I've forgotten the name of the presenter. Sorry for that. As
Maoli.
Yeah, sorry, Maoli. As Maoli mentioned, applying so much pressure and applying yourself, an opportunity will definitely open, and you would have prepared yourself to a point where you will match the opportunity and you will just get it. Even if it's not the salary that was sold to you, getting that experience, building upon your knowledge, you get to a place where you can now demand what you want. But from the onset, never let salary be the driving factor. Indeed, your first role might not be that encouraging, but that might be the place where an opportunity will be opened by building a network with your colleagues, with someone who can refer you to a higher position. So for the onset, just keep in mind that you are doing your best to become so skilled at this, but not necessarily because it offers such a lucrative salary, the working conditions are good, and that everyone's situation is quite different. So just keep on it, and hopefully your efforts will be rewarded. Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks,
very
Wanda.
much.
That's spot on.
Maoli, one more thing I would like to add. So we've been talking about skills, and skill sets. You don't need to be an expert to apply for a job. Don't wait till you become an expert. And you are not going to become an expert if you are not doing the job itself. So in my case, my boss has personally told me that he would rather hire somebody who is very good with the basics and train the person on the job rather than hire somebody who is an expert. Because an expert is usually coming in with, well, they have their own way they work. They already have their preconceived notions about how a company is supposed to be run, that kind of stuff. But he would rather get somebody with potential and help the person through their journey. So don't wait till you are an expert. If you see a job you like, apply. They have all these fancy job descriptions. Trust me, most of them are just copied from Indeed or something. Sometimes the HR person put in the advert there doesn't even know what that job means. They've just been contacted to look for, let's say, a cloud engineer. And then they'll go and Google, what does a cloud engineer do? A cloud engineer does this knows Kubernetes, no blah, blah, blah. And then they'll just post it on LinkedIn. Don't mind them. If you like the role, apply. You may get it. If you don't apply, you've already lost it. Apply.
Great. That's true. Very good points from them both. And just to hash a bit on what Wanda said, because just make up your mind, because what you are entering that first door or opportunity with is your skills and the experience that you want to build. But even on top of that, I can assure you that the pay will not disappoint you. So in fact, it's at the end of the day, the best of both worlds. And I even spoke about the fact that your why, if really the money is the very first thing or the only thing on your mind, then I don't think that would really be the case for anybody necessarily. But because this thing gets very tough sometimes, you can spend late nights, you break your back a little. If the passion and the desire is not the very first and foremost thing, you can easily get derailed on the way, right? So have that mentality and the why defined well. That's very, very crucial, because if it's something you want to take for a long time. And the other thing I wanted to mention is like the willingness to be continually learning, to be learning continually. That kind of, if you are somebody who has that kind of desire or you want to develop that kind of mindset, it is going to be very helpful for this area. Do we have any more questions? How have you found the session so far? has it been helpful in any way? If you really have questions, this is the time for you. Let's hear your questions, because we are doing this just because of you guys. People send a lot of DMs asking for the way, asking for guidance, and you realize that you cannot be talking to people one-on-one like that. We can do the best we will in that capacity, but at this point, this is what we can also do to help. So as I wait for more questions, let me just quickly go over some of these things at the end of the meeting. And I think we are really about 5 minutes over our time already. So I'm sort of preparing myself to wrap up, and then, but I'm still expecting or waiting for questions as I do this. Okay. We'll be sending you a survey. In fact, I can put the survey link in the chat right away so that you can tell us how this whole thing went for you and fill the information in there. So for those who are interested in joining the group, I put the phone number there. So I didn't make it required, right? I didn't make it required so that if you want to opt out, you can opt out, right? But if you are really interested in that, but we are interested in all the survey fields. We want to know how well this thing went and how helpful it was for you. So just fill it out and let us know. And we will be compiling sort of like, so based on that form or the survey tool, based on your responses, we will be able to send the materials tailored to whatever area you tell us about there that, I'm interested in this kind of thing. Then we'll say, okay, you get started with this, study this, watch this video, do this. We've given the general direction already, honestly, but if there is any free material or course or something we can point you to, we will still be able to do that. That's why we are doing all this. And I think generally, this material, and I shared it with some people in the past, I'm going to drop it in the link. It's just like a tech fundamentals kind of course, or like some basic things you need to know, even if you are considering joining this whole tech thing. If you know about these fundamentals, it will be important. If you can even use it to actually test your temperature or whether this thing is really for you, right? Apply your mind around the concepts in there and see how it feels for you. Because again, this thing is not for everybody. This thing will take some time out of your schedule to be committed to make it happen, if you really want it to become like a career path for you. So I would never scare you, because look at us or look at me. I didn't come from that typical background and everything, but with some effort, I've been able to do it. I believe absolutely 100% that you can also be able to do it. But if you are making the decisions, this, I feel like a kind of material you can use to test yourself and see how it will feel for you. Then, there are some just kind of basics that you need to know. There is this second video too I have here. I'll just drop it in. Again, the very savvy people, excuse us the beginners, right? Excuse us the beginners. This is just for us to get started. So that's why I'm putting this kind of materials there. You can just something you can look at briefly. If you feel you are above it already, no big deal. If you think it will be relevant for you, you can still watch it. And so I think we are really at where I think we can be ending this session, right? So please fill the survey for us. It's very, very important. I'll still like to take any final remarks from David, Samuel, if you have any final remarks or anything for us, or you can give those remarks and then we'll proceed.
Yeah, so in conclusion, this is what I have to say to all of us. It's not easy to enter, right? It's not like we don't have a specific path that do A, B, and C, and you definitely get a job. What we want to let you know is It's hard, all right, but you can make it easier for yourself and put yourself in a position where you'll be considered. Remember, not everybody will be hired. Let's be realistic. But we want to be in a position where you'll be at least ahead of the competition in a meaningful way that you'll be considered. So think about it like you and your friend are there and you're being chased by a wild animal. You don't need to be faster than the animal. You just need to be faster than your friend. So let's help each other be faster than our friends. That way we put ourselves in a good position. And the perseverance is key. And I remember when I was trying to get out of the old job I was in, I would stay behind for about 4 or 5 hours after work just to do personal studies. And people would be thinking, I'm there because I love the old job so much. It's like, why don't you go home? And you'll be hearing all these negative remarks. It's like, you are here and you think you are better than us, so we want to study more. And like a lot of ignorant stuff. Don't mind the noise. Just keep pushing ahead and hopefully one day you'll be fine.
Thank you.
Yeah. And also on my end, I feel like if you are entering, it's not easy, right? Like you've studied something else in the university your whole 4 years, you studied something else, something different, and you are entering. It's not easy, right? So what you need is someone to guide you or a friend where you feel like both of you have the same goal and this is what you want to achieve. So you pull each other, right? So with that, then you don't get lazy or feel lazy when studying. Or sometimes it used to happen to me when I was learning, because I feel like I get to a point where I feel like this is difficult. Charlie, I can't do it. I know what you do. Sorry for my PG, but I just want to give you the scenario in which I went through. I was like, Charlie, I don't want to do this thing. Charlie, forget that. You see, all those thoughts will come to you simply because you are doing it alone. But if you have a friend who you feel like, okay, or someone who is already in the field, who is going to pull you, then you know I have to keep up. Regardless, I'm going to probably get help or get more information on wherever I'm stuck at, or the particular topic I feel like is difficult for me, I could get help. Then indeed, there's going to be progress. But when you sit alone, you go through, you find a problem, and you don't want to reach out, then it becomes more difficult, right? So in my own very perspective, it is try to get a steady partner or someone who knows like your specialty, like you want to enter into this, then get attached to someone who is in that field. When you get stuck somewhere, you could reach out to that person and they will help you, right? So in tech, you can't do it alone. You need people around you. So basically, try to connect with people, try to get in touch and get the necessary help. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you all. I believe and I hope it has been an insightful session and a very beneficial one for all of us. I would like to thank you all so much. I think it's quite a good number, honestly. Yes, I know that the topic was kind of centered on a certain category of people, and it looks like that will be the kind of people we actually expect on the meeting. So it's a great start, and we are glad to do this with you. And just fill out the survey and then reach out, connect. Let's pick things up from there. We are interested in knowing how things unfold for you and all that. So we'll do that. We'll definitely do the WhatsApp group thing too. I think it will be very good. So as many as are willing, just before we leave, we just want to do some kind of, if you are willing to turn on your video for us to all just do like a group picture kind of thing and just have a shot of the meeting. That would be great. All right. Let me change the view to, yes, the gallery mode so that I see everybody. Maybe I'll share. So let me share my screen so that you can actually see what is going on before we take the shot. So, oh, okay, I'm going to lose that screen. I can't get it in sharing mode. Okay, so it's not going to be possible. So I'll just cancel it. And when I actually do it, then you'll see. So maybe I'll share it with you guys through the email. As many as want to turn on their videos, please just do that. And then I'm going to take a screenshot. So let me get this out of the way. Okay, going in 5, 4, 3, 2. You can do a wave or anything you want to do. And then I'm taking the shot now. I'm doing another one. So freeze your smiles for me a little. Because it's a screenshot process. Okay, I think I got another good one. All right, thank you guys so much. I wish you all the very, very best on your journey and see you again sometime soon. Bye-bye, 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 bye-bye.